This episode of Settle the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today. Hello, I'm Angelina Kelly and welcome to Settle the Score. Today, we are looking back on the biggest game of the weekend. Yes, that dramatic meeting between Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool that saw the Reds take home a 2-1 victory. So to get into this, we have Chris Cowling from Spurs Chat and Liverpool fan Joe Moore. So, Chris, I want to kick things off with you. It seemed like something was going on at Chelsea at first with the red cards. You know, has this now spread to North London? We've got Xavi Simons and Christian Romero sent off. 3 more yellow cards for Van de Ven Bentancur after he collided with Kirkes and Richarlison after full time. Was there a discipline issue with your team yesterday?
Well, I think certainly in the last couple of weeks, Thomas Frank has been asking for a lot more aggression from each Tottenham Hotspur side. And when you think that we've only won one, including this Liverpool defeat, we've won one in the last 8 in the Premier League. So, you know, the team needs results. Thomas Frank needs results. So I get the aggression, but it should have been controlled aggression. It was very disappointing to see Christian Romero sent off in added time because that was their most dominant time in the match, and that is when, you know, we should have got the equaliser because we had so many chances in that final 15 minutes of the game. But the discipline from Christian Romero was truly disappointing, and I feel like he let the team down in those last minutes because, as I said, it was the dominant spell. But we need wins at home. You know, our home form is absolutely atrocious. 15 points out of a possible 54 at home in the calendar year of 2025. And we've broken our own record at Spurs for the amount of defeats in the Premier League since it started. So things are pretty grim at the moment, and Thomas Frank needs results. So I get the fact that he's telling the team to be aggressive, but it needs to be controlled.
Yeah, because I was going to say, it felt a little bit like Spurs were maybe almost too amped up for the game. So maybe some of those errors were easily avoided, would you say?
Well, I think they wanted to put on a display for the fans. As I said, the home record is abysmal, and I must say, and I must say this: John Brooks, the referee in display, was absolutely awful. You know, there were so many decisions in the game that seemed to go Liverpool's way, and it got everybody in the stadium frustrated. Even Thomas Frank a couple of times sarcastically clapped when John Brooks actually did give us 1 or 2 decisions for pushes or tackles. So I think everyone was just frustrated, and the crowd were excellent on Saturday, really getting behind the team. But I think that's the key word here. It was frustration with the fans, Thomas Frank and the players.
Now, I want to talk about the Xavi Simons red card. Joe, I'll start with you. Thoughts on that? No complaints?
No, I mean, the poor guy. I mean, it's a bit of a strange situation to
He's
put yourself in.
Netherlands teammate as well.
Yeah, it's his captain. I mean, he's put a grovelling apology online afterwards, hasn't he? But I mean, it's a bit like the Anthony Gordon one against Newcastle. It was just he just saw red, didn't he? He chased him when he didn't need to chase him. Every other Spurs fan on the pitch was letting the Liverpool back four just pass it around a little bit. And Simons thought, no, I'm not having that. And I mean, he didn't mean it, did he? But it was pretty stupid. And to be fair, on first look, you thought, oh, that's not a bright challenge. But the replay showed how bad it was. And I mean, his studs are halfway up his calf, really, aren't they? So he's got no complaints at all.
Chris, would you agree, or did the slow-mo just make it look worse?
Oh, terrible. I tell you, every time you see it, especially in slow motion, you see those stills, and it just looks a terrible tackle. But as Joe said, there's no way that the player meant any harm or intent. It was just one of those. I think if you see it in real time, you'd probably say it's a yellow card, exactly like the referee gave. But of course, VAR is almost re-refereeing games. You know, as soon as the referee goes over to the screen, then of course we know what's going to happen. But it was a weird one because Xavi Simons and Romero, when they received their red cards, they both got applauded off by the Spurs fans. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah, I guess it does. Mickey van der Ven, should he have been sent off too for the challenge on Isak? The ball had gone and Van der Ven comes crashing into him, you know, and we now know has broken his leg. Joe, where do you sit on it as a Liverpool fan?
No, I mean, he's got his shot away, hasn't he? He's scored a goal. The defender's got to do something. You can't, it's defender's job to try and stop a striker from scoring. It's just one of those things, isn't it? It doesn't help that Alexander Isak is built like a twig. So it's not gonna stop. It's not gonna take much for those legs to. I'm not surprised because he just doesn't. He's not that kind of physical build, is he? And that's the way he plays as well. He's very nimble on the ball. But yeah, there's just not a lot of padding there, shall we say? And I've got to be honest. I mean, I've been very surprised by. I think most fans would be disappointed. All fans would be disappointed about how Alexander Isak's gone since he's joined us. And looking back on the transfer now, I imagine I certainly do look back at it and think, why did we sign him? Before we even got the Isak saga sort of sorted, TK was already flying. And you think if we just reinvested that money somewhere else in the team to just strengthen out the back four, maybe one more body in midfield, and now it's looking like the decision to sign him for all that money has backfired spectacularly. Because how long is he going to be out for? I mean, they've not specified when he'll be back, but with a lower leg break, I mean, is he going to be back before the end of the season? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, does it feel like everything is just conspiring against him at the moment? You've got the injuries, a drop in form. It's obviously so unlucky, but like you say, it seems like this almost wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? I mean, the guy just has no luck, really. Talk about scoring and then breaking your leg in the same motion. I mean,
he sacrificed his leg for his second Premier League goal.
Yeah, fair play to him. But yeah, I don't think you can put any blame on Van de Ven for that whatsoever. He's just doing his job.
And I guess you look around the Premier League and there are question marks over most new strikers, Victor Gyökeres, Benjamin Šeško, Nick Woltemade and obviously Isak too. But you mentioned Hugo Ekitike there. He doesn't fall into that category. He will be looked upon to step up to the plate even more now that Isak is out, and Mo Salah, even though he's not been firing on all cylinders either, will be missing, for a while as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to wonder what that pressure will do. Because since he's joined the club, he's been the other guy really. Ever since Isak was fit, there was almost a moment where Slot was preferring Isak. Maybe there's a bit of pressure to put him in the team because of his transfer fee. Now he doesn't have that, and Ekitike, it can maybe go one of either two ways. He either continues the way he's been playing, which has been absolutely fantastic, but he's been playing fantastic perhaps as a reaction to trying to fight for his place against Isak. Now all the pressure is on him to lead the line. For a club the size of Liverpool, for the mire that we've been in for large periods of the season, is he going to buckle under pressure, or is he going to keep thriving? We don't know. He's still young. He's still new to the club. I've got every confidence in him. I think every time he gets the ball, he looks so sharp. He makes stuff happen. The way he runs when he gets up to stride, I'm not sure many people can keep up with him. Maybe Van de Ven. But he looks amazing, and I'm so glad we signed him. And so I've got every faith in the kid that he'll do really well. But yeah, time will tell whether that pressure will get to him or not.
Chris, should Hugo Ekitike's goal have been ruled out though? Because there was that push on Romero. Where do you sit?
Well, I think there was about 60,000 fans going absolutely mad. Romero in the referee's face, and the players extremely unhappy. And it's funny, with decisions like this, there is no consistency in the Premier League. Some are given, some aren't given, and it just seems that these decisions on Saturday went against us. And as I said, the referee got a lot of stick from the Spurs fans on Saturday. So I think that yes, it should have been given as a free kick, but of course I'm a Spurs fan. I'm going to be a bit biased, aren't I?
Joe does not look like he's having that at all.
Well, as I almost said as a Spurs fan, then whoops. As a Liverpool fan, of course I'm going to say the opposite. I just think Romero is your leading centre back. He's your captain. Show a bit of backbone, mate. He lost the ball he lost that battle in the box. He lost the battle in the air, and he knew that. And he just with a little bit of contact, he played for the foul.
I think it's fair to say, though, Joe, some are given in the Premier League and
Oh.
some aren't. So there is an inconsistency issue amongst refereeing and VAR.
A massive lack of consistency, but there is also more and more of this sort of play acting. I watched the Real Madrid game against Sevilla on the train back from work, and there's so much of it in the Spanish league where the minute of touches the players play for it and they get given it. So I think there's almost the inconsistency is maybe the referees trying to stamp out this thing that's coming into almost every level of football, where if you feel a touch, you go down, and you try to make chances, you might get a call, and the referees are thinking like, why are you going down there? Are you going down just because you lost the battle? I'm not going to give you that. Some referees fall for it, some referees might give it, and it makes those situations, like at the Spurs game, seem really harsh. And I can understand why the Spurs fans are wanting the foul. But if you think about it, two men jumping up for the ball and one of them goes down with the slightest push, it's like, he's just playing for it, isn't he?
Can I just make it clear, though, we didn't lose the game because of these decisions. We lost the game because we weren't good enough in the opening 80 minutes or so. From 81 minutes onwards, it was like Spurs were a different team. We were a better team with 9 men than 11. And, fair play to Arne Slot, because even in the press conference after, he said that it was like Liverpool had 9 men, Spurs had 11. So we gave it absolutely everything in that final 10 minutes plus the 9 added on. So that was a much better spell in the game for us.
And, the XG was quite close in the end. And like you say, Spurs actually did just edge Liverpool in that regard. That final kind of like 10 minutes, they were so good. Joe, did Liverpool deserve to win in the end?
Oh, that is a really tough question. I was really, really nervous. The last 10 minutes, I was so nervous. I could not sit down. I could not sit still. Really, really nervous. And especially when... there was a moment where, was it Frimpong went off? I can't remember exactly what was going on, but he brought Chiesa on so we could defend a corner with 9 men. And then 10 minutes later, he brings Andrew Robertson on. And you're like, why didn't Andy Robertson come on earlier, like an actual defender? And to be fair, Chiesa, there were a couple of breakaway moments at the end which could have come to something. Our youngster that came off the bench needs to learn what offsides are, because that he spoiled a bit of a possibility of a counter-attack at the end. So it was just chaos, wasn't it? Absolute chaos. I think the Spurs players, all of them to a man, including the 2 guys sent off, completely lost their heads, and it made for a really, really entertaining finale. And fortunately for Liverpool, we held out in the end, and those goals at the start were enough. But yeah, it was what's the squeaky bum time, as Sir Alex Ferguson used to say. It definitely was that.
Definitely. I mean, Chris, you look at this season so far under Thomas Frank. For you, how many games does he have left?
I think this next week is a huge week for him, the football club, because, as I said, 1 win in 8 in the Premier League. Home form is abysmal. We haven't seen much entertaining football this season. It's been quite underwhelming, and we need to see a lot more. I think that these next couple of games, Crystal Palace away, Brentford away, of course, his old club, these are going to be 2 very difficult away games. At the start of the season, Spurs had a very good away record, but most recently we lost 3-0 away at Nottingham Forest. And that was a dismal display. You talk about XG. Spurs have broken every record, I think, this season with XG. Lack of shots on target, lack of attacking intent. Thomas Frank needs to really concentrate on our attacking play, what we can do to teams rather than what teams are going to do to us. And that has been a real frustrating thing amongst the Spurs fan base. I feel like a lot of Spurs fans have given up on Thomas Frank. I'm still happy to give him another couple of games, because I do get the fact that we are missing those attacking players, Maddison, Kulusevski, Dominic Solanke. But sometimes managers, especially in these roles that, they are in big clubs, they need to find a way to win. They need to find a way to score goals and have that attacking intent. But yeah, in answer to your question, I think these next couple of games, this next week or so, is going to be really, really important for him.
I mean, the only teams that have taken less points at home this season than Spurs are the bottom 3, Burnley, West Ham and Wolves. I mean, West Ham and Wolves both lost this weekend. So, I'm sure you're not panicking too much about about, relegation for Spurs. I know that fans will be churning that one round at you. They did both lose, so you should be all right. But how do you turn this around?
Well, it's interesting you say that about the teams in the table, because we're 4 points above where we finished last season under Ange, and you know as well as I do how much Ange got criticised last season. The way the manner that we set up and played, and 22 league defeats last year, it wasn't good enough, but we did finish with the Europa League, which was a great success for us. But we are also 7 points away from the top four, so these next few games, you could be up there, or these next few games, it could be really, really terrible, and you're sitting in a place where you were last season, where you expected so much more. So it's all the January transfer window, I believe, is really important for Spurs as well. I feel like this is a collective. I feel like some players aren't good enough. I feel like some players are underperforming under Frank. Frank needs to do a lot more with the attacking intent, and also the board need to, back a manager. When you think we moved in our new stadium back in 2019, since then we've gone through 6 permanent managers, 3 interim managers. Can this keep happening where we keep replacing managers, or do we really back the manager?
One player that you could sign in January?
Well, I was going to say Antoine Semenyo, but that looks very unlikely.
Yeah, reports that he's heading to over to Manchester. I mean, Joe, same question to you about transfer, but I first wanted to ask, Liverpool, 6 games unbeaten now. They've been clawing back the points slowly but surely. For the rest of December and the month of January, the only big test on paper is Arsenal. But, anything can happen. We've seen Liverpool slip up so far this season. But are you confident that your club can get themselves, back into the title race? Are they already back in the title race for you?
I'm not sure about the title race. I don't think you can. I don't think you can go on the slides that Liverpool went on earlier this season and still think you're title contenders. I mean, but
Arsenal could be bottle jobs. You never know.
You say
They will be.
You say
they will
could be.
They will be, Joe.
I don't think there's a could be. I really don't. I think this is just, it's such a familiar scenario, isn't it? Everyone's seen Man City start sort of first half of the season poorly, and then what they can do. Even with a completely different team, they still, it seems like just Pep has drills this mentality into them. And everyone could see them going on a run where they just don't lose a game in the second half of the season, and then Arsenal finish second again. I mean, wouldn't that be nice?
Yes,
or maybe below second. Who knows? But yeah, I think the title realistically is out of Liverpool's agenda completely. I think top 4 would be great. If you look back on the run that we had, and we get top 4, that's a miracle, right? As particularly, I really don't think people talk about the situation around Diogo Jota enough. If Liverpool get top 4, the same season that we lost one of our most beloved players, I mean, what a season that will go down. And I think Slot has handled the whole season so incredibly well, including the whole Salah business. I just think Arne Slot has just really proven to be a top guy. As well as a top manager, and he's had to deal with an awful lot, uncharted territory for anyone, particularly someone in his position. Second season at the club, he's not been in there very long, and so I as soon as the Jota stuff happened in the summer, I sort of wrote off a season, because I wondered how those players could really turn up and perform and be expected to perform. And so when we went through that run, and people were saying Arne Slot is close to the sack, I couldn't help but ask, but why? A really, really strange situation for him to be in his second season. And so, top 4 would be amazing. If we resurrected title bids, even better. But I think top 4 would be beyond most Liverpool fans' wildest dreams at this point.
And finally, if you could bring anyone in, I mean, you've already spent quite a bit of money, but is there a name?
I mean, we need defenders. And Mark Gahey has to be number 1. Whether we can do it in January, whether he's going to hold out at the end of his contract, when he could have he could have suitors galore. He could go anywhere, couldn't he? Really. I think we need to get another centre back in. There's been question marks over Konate, particularly with the Real Madrid stuff floating around, and obviously that seems to be off the table now. And he did quite well against Spurs. He's been okay in recent games, but there has been massive question marks over him. And there's always question marks over Joe Gomez. Bless his cotton socks. He always gets injured, doesn't he? Bless him, just when he starts to get in the starting picture again. Yeah, we need another centre back. We've been linked with Semenyo. Do we need him? Probably not. Would it be nice to have him? Absolutely. But he's going to Manchester anyway, unfortunately, looks like. But we just need more defensive reinforcements, really. That should be number one for Slot and the transfer team in January.
Well, there you have it. A few names on the Christmas wish list for you guys. Let's see if Santa brings you what you have asked for. Chris and Joe, thank you so much for joining me. This episode of Settle the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today.